Right now, without thinking about it, you blink about 15 times a minute. Both eyes, every few seconds. You don't decide to do it, your body just does it. But sometime today, you might do something completely different. You'll close one eye, on purpose, at one specific person, and that person will instantly know exactly what you mean. Think about how strange that is. One eyelid drops for a fraction of a second and it can mean I'm joking, or this is our secret, or I like you. No words, no sound, just a muscle twitch that somehow carries an entire sentence. So where did that come from? Who was the first human to close one eye and mean something by it? The answer is weirder than you think, and it says something kind of unsettling about how we talk to each other. Let's start with the eye itself, because here's the thing nobody tells you. Winking is hard. Try it right now. Wink with one eye. Easy, right? Now wink with the other one. For most people, that second eye is clumsy. It wants to squint. The other side of your face wants to join in. About 1 in 5 adults physically cannot wink with one eye at all without scrunching half their face. That's your first clue. Winking is not natural. Blinking is natural. Blinking is a reflex you were born with, wired into your brainstem before you ever opened your eyes. But winking is a skill. It's controlled by a muscle called the orbicularis oculi, and closing just one of them cleanly on command takes practice. Small children usually can't do it. They learn it from watching us. And that's the real secret. A wink isn't something your body invented. It's something humans taught each other. So let's go back, way back, before the word existed at all. The word wink is old, really old. It comes from an Old English word, wincian, which didn't mean the flirty little gesture we think of today. It meant to close your eyes, to blink, to flutter shut. 1,000 years ago, if you winked, you were basically just shutting your eyes. Here's where it gets interesting. For centuries, winking meant sleep. It meant not seeing. When someone said they didn't get a wink, they meant they didn't close their eyes at all. We still say that today. I didn't sleep a wink. That phrase is a fossil. It's a leftover from a time when a wink had nothing to do with flirting or secrets. It just meant your eyes were closed. So somewhere between then and now, this word did a complete backflip. It went from meaning close both eyes to sleep to close one eye to send a message. And that flip tells the whole story of how the gesture was born. Now here's a question that sounds simple but isn't. If winking is so useful, why doesn't everyone do it? Because they don't. And this is where it gets genuinely strange. Go to certain parts of the world and wink at someone, and you will not look charming. You'll look rude. In parts of India and China, an older generation grew up seeing the wink as offensive, even vulgar. In some cultures, it's read as sexual. Flat out. No ambiguity. There are places where winking at a stranger could get you slapped, and places where winking at a woman was, for a long time, deeply insulting. Compare that to the smile, or crying, or the face you make when you smell something rotten. Those are universal. A baby in Tokyo and a baby in Toronto make the exact same disgust face because disgust is built into us. The psychologist Paul Ekman spent his career proving that. He traveled to remote tribes who had never seen a movie or a magazine, showed them photos of faces, and they read happiness, fear, and anger perfectly. Every time. Those expressions are human hardware. But the wink isn't on that list. Ekman's universal expressions do not include it. Because the wink isn't hardware, it's software. It's something a culture installs, and a piece of software that one group loves, another group never installed at all. So if it's learned, when did we learn it? When does the wink, the real one, the sly one, actually show up in history? Earlier than you'd guess? Try ancient Rome. There's a Roman poet named Ovid writing about 2,000 years ago, and Ovid wrote basically a pickup manual, a guide to flirting. It's called The Art of Love. And in it, he describes lovers at dinner parties sending signals across the room with their eyes. Little movements, secret glances meant for one person and hidden from everyone else. He's describing the wink before we had a clean word for it. 2,000 years ago, people were already using the eye as a private telegraph. Go a bit later to Shakespeare and the wink is everywhere. But watch this. In Shakespeare's time, wink still often meant to shut your eyes and ignore something. To wink at a crime meant to pretend you didn't see it. To look away on purpose. And that right there is the birth of the modern wink. Think about what those two meanings have in common. Closing your eyes to ignore something, and closing one eye to share a secret. Both of them are about not seeing, or pretending not to see. Wink was born from the idea of the shared blind spot. You and I both agree to not officially see this thing. That's what a wink still means today. It's a tiny conspiracy between two people. Okay, pattern interrupt. Let's talk about why this actually works. Because there's real psychology under the hood, and it's kind of beautiful. A wink only works if it's exclusive. That's the entire trick. When you wink at one person in a crowded room, you are doing two things at once. You're sending a message to them, and you're hiding it from everyone else. The power isn't in the eyelid. The power is in the secret. Psychologists call this shared attention. It's one of the deepest social instincts we have. Babies develop it before they can even talk. When a baby looks at something and then looks at you to check if you saw it too, that's shared attention. That's the foundation of every inside joke, every knowing glance, every "did you see that?" you've ever felt. A wink is that instinct weaponized into a single gesture. It says, you and me, we're on the same team, and they don't know. It builds a little island for two people in the middle of a crowd. That feeling of being let in on something, of being chosen, is one of the most powerful social hits a human brain can get, and the wink delivers it in under a second. Now here's where the story takes a turn nobody expects. The wink almost died, and then a cartoon rabbit saved it. For most of history, the wink was a real-life, in-person thing. You had to be in the room. Then came photographs and film, and suddenly gestures could be frozen and copied and broadcast to millions of people at once. And in the early 20th century, something happened. Silent film. Think about it. Silent film had no dialogue. Actors had to say everything with their faces, and the wink was perfect. It photographed beautifully. It read from the back row. A single wink from an actor could tell the whole audience, "Don't worry, everything's going to be fine," without a single word. The wink became a movie language. Then cartoons took it and cranked it to 100. Bugs Bunny winks. Constantly. Every mischievous character in animation history winks at the camera, breaking the fourth wall, pulling you into the joke. A whole generation of kids learned the exact grammar of the wink from characters who weren't even real. That clumsy, hard-to-do muscle trick got taught to millions of children by drawings, and that's largely why you know how to do it today. And then it broke free of the face entirely, because at some point, the wink stopped needing an eye at all. In 1982, a computer scientist named Scott Fahlman was typing on an early message board, and he was worried people couldn't tell when he was joking, so he suggested something. Type a colon, a dash, and a parenthesis, a little sideways, smiley face. And along with it came its sly cousin, semicolon, dash, parenthesis. A face with one eye closed, the winky emoticon. He turned a facial muscle into punctuation. Suddenly you could wink in text, in an email, in a message to someone on the other side of the planet who you would never see in person. The gesture that started as a private glance across a Roman dinner table had become a couple of keystrokes anyone could send to anyone. And today it's an emoji. That little yellow face with one eye shut gets sent hundreds of millions of times a day, which means the wink might be the single most performed human gesture in history right now. Except most of the time, no actual eye is closing at all. So let's zoom all the way out. Because look at the strange journey this thing took. It started as a word that just meant closing your eyes to sleep. It became a way to pretend that you didn't see a crime. It turned into a secret signal between lovers at a party. It got frozen onto film, exaggerated by cartoons, and taught to children who copied it into the mirror. Then it left the human body completely and became a symbol you can type. And through every single one of those transformations, the core meaning never changed. Not once. From Ovid to Bugs Bunny to the emoji on your phone, a wink has always meant the same thing. You and me. We both know. And it's just between us. Here's the part that gets me. Nobody invented the wink. There's no patent, no founder, no eureka moment. It wasn't designed, it grew. It was passed from person to person, face to face, for thousands of years, changing shape as it went. And it survived every single change. It outlived Latin. It outlived silent film. It jumped from eyelids to keyboards and didn't lose a thing. Because underneath it all, the wink solves a problem that never goes away. The problem of wanting to tell one person something without telling the whole room. That need is as old as humans standing in groups, and as long as we're social animals surrounded by other people, we'll need a way to build a secret bridge to just one of them. So tonight, when you close one eye at a friend across a table, remember, you're not really doing anything new. You're performing a gesture 2,000 years old that a rabbit taught you that means the same thing it always has. You just never knew you were part of the tradition.